All right, how's everyone doing? I'm Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA show. So, what I want to talk about in this podcast is, do you make everything miserable? I don't know if I've done a podcast on this before, but if I did, I'm sorry. But I do think I'm going to take a different approach on this podcast, because sometimes it's a similar subject matter, but there's just an entirely different approach. It's kind of like anything else out there. We can talk about the same thing to a certain degree, the same subject matter, but just bring up different information regarding it. But, I've been around throughout my life a lot of people who make other people miserable, no matter what the situation is. It could even be going on a vacation, which is supposed to be a really fun time a lot of times, but you can be with a couple, or you may have kids, or your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever the hell it is. For some reason, no matter what you're doing, makes it miserable. Finds that problem, no matter what it is. You could be going, and I've seen this before, even not like vacation, going on a cruise. You could be at work. This could be in your relationship in general. It could be in your household, where you are surrounded by maybe one person or multiple people that are always making things miserable on you. You also may be this person. A lot of times I'm talking about, like, trying to say, hey, if you got to deal with this type of person, you may have to take a different approach and all this. But I do think a lot of people out there make things miserable for whoever they're with. They're just always, again, looking for that problem. Instead of looking for a solution or looking to make things better, you make things horrific. I've learned with my girlfriend, Rhea, the one thing I will say from her more than anything, no matter what, how to handle any situation and try to do the best she can to get the best results. It could be with technology. It could be in a relationship. It could be knowing when to talk, when not to talk. Now, she's not perfect. Nobody is. I'm not saying she is. But for the most part, I've learned so much from her on how to behave. I always talk about self-awareness or being in the moment. But a lot of times I think we talk that shit, but we, again, forget a lot about that. We also, I think, and I'm going to go to the third level here, we're kind of both. We kind of want to help if it's within our realm and we feel like, hey, oh my God, I can help you here and I can do this for you and I can do that. Hey, calm down. No reason to get upset. But then when it's something that you don't know how to handle or you don't know how to do and you get frustrated, then you go off the deep end. Then you start not necessarily verbally abusing everybody, but you're aggravated. Right? Then you make things miserable, not only for yourself, but others as well. So you're kind of a good guy or girl and bad guy or girl at times. There's no kind of balance. It's either you're all kind of, depending on your mood, you're all fun and happy and great to be around. But then let's face it, maybe behind closed doors, you're not. You may be an asshole in your own household. You may, ignore people. You may be not as, polite. Like out in the environment, let's face it, a lot of times we all behave differently, right? I think a lot of times when we're around maybe even family members, friends, work colleagues, all this, we have a certain disposition. And a lot of it I've seen throughout the years, a lot of them guys, they're fun. They look great. You have a great time with them. I don't care if you go out for drinks. I don't care if you go on a vacation with them. I don't care if you go out to dinner, whatever. You're working with them. You're like, man, that guy's a great guy or whatever. But then when they go home, totally different. Now they're not that person, and I've lived with those type of guys. And it could be, again, even family members. You're like, wow, you don't know the real person here. But also, they may not know the real you. And the only reason I wanted to bring this up, I am not here to rip on anybody. That is the last thing. But I do want people to understand a lot of times their behavior. From the minute they wake up, I say a lot of times, to when they go to bed. And that does not mean you're not going to have good days and bad days. That does not mean you're not going to argue with people. Doesn't mean you're not going to end up miserable at times regarding certain things, especially, I should say, with technology, and especially with older middle-aged or even baby boomers, how frustrated they get when having to deal with technology or having to rely on others to help them all the time. It's frustrating, not only for the person who needs help, but the people that are always being asked for help. I get all that. But you may just have to, put everything aside sometimes and say, what is my behavior right now? How am I acting through this? I need help. And if somebody is trying to help me, am I making it helpful or am I making it miserable? Because a lot of times we need help and we're asking someone for help. They can't do it either. And we're lashing out at them. We're mad at them because they can't do what we want to do. That's not fair. or we're lashing out for them not being maybe successful at something we're not successful in. I think a lot of parents may go through this at certain times. We're always kind of in a place maybe where instead of, again, saying, hey, if you can't help me, I appreciate that. Let me move on to somebody else who can, even if you have to pay for it, or even if you have to learn to do whatever you want to do on your own. I'm just saying, and sometimes it's hard. It's really hard. But any situation you find yourself in, and you're in people don't realize from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to bed, there's all these different things going on in your life. I don't care who you are for the most part, unless you're really alone. But if you have a job and you have a family or you have friends and all this, you're all kind of doing things a lot of times to help one another or to have these relationships. But just be aware that a lot of times instead of building relationships because of your behavior, you may be destroying them. So I just want to do a quick podcast on this. Please be aware of your behavior and stop maybe making everything miserable on others, and most importantly, yourself. Try to make things better for yourself, and you may just have to take different approaches than the one you're taking if you are always miserable or feeling in a spot where everybody around you is making you miserable. Then it may be time to make some changes. All right? I'm going to wrap it up there. If you got any questions or comments, hit me up. I'm at richchalenza.com. I'm also at masteringselfconfidence.com, where I try to help men with relationships and kind of being self-aware and building confidence within themselves, amongst other things, wardrobe, hygiene, fitness, and things in that nature. All right? Take care, and I wish you nothing but the best.